To whom it may concern, this morning your child was not in a crosswalk. I will be sending you a bill for damages to grill and front right light. P.S. How old was he? He was built like a linebacker. Heyo.
Oh, yeah. Is that Cap's typewriter?
No.
Hold on, I recognize that typewriter.
Let me clear all this stuff up. Jeez. Just one that looks exactly like his, with his initials engraved in it. C for Cap. What's that in your hand?
This is a cold case file.
A cold case file?
I got it down in the archive.
Way downstairs.
And I had to go down to the archive because I had to sign my annual restraining order that Dirty Deborah had filed against me several decades ago. She wasn't there.
Really?
Orla was there, though.
Oh.
Did you know that we have a new archivist downstairs?
Yes, I do. Orla is gorgeous in
First time I ever met her before.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And she was wrist deep in this cold case file.
Really?
And I said, what are you doing with that?
Yeah.
She says, you wouldn't be interested in this cold case file. It's way too complicated.
Whoa. What is she trying to say?
Well, first of all, it's international.
What does that even mean?
I had to look that up.
Okay.
International.
Oh, wait, international.
Uh-huh.
That's like whenever I ask to use your computer, that's the first stuff that pops up.
You mean interracial?
That's what it says.
Oh.
Thanks.
So I just ripped the cold case file out of her hands.
Yes, her supple, beautiful, lotioned hands.
Exactly. And I said, give this to me. I stuffed it in my jacket and I ran upstairs.
Sweet.
The incident report, 1978. This movie came out.
What movie?
Oh, we didn't even announce it, did we?
No, let me see the tape.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Give me it. Let me see that.
Here it is.
This is thick. This is nice. Vintage smell.
But more importantly, the case file is
The Silent Partner.
rated R. Came out in 1978 in Canada and had a budget of $2,500,000.
Yeah, what does that become in U.S. dollars?
$1.8 million.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Canadian dollars are called Canucks, right? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Incident report. A bank teller skims $48,000 for himself during a robbery, and a Santa Claus crook wants it back.
Oh, man, that sounds so cool. I'd love to watch
Oh, is this why Orla was looking at it?
Right.
It's a Christmas tale.
Tiny Tim opens up a small bank in a Canadian mall. Everyone's trying to get loans to get some more porridge.
Yep. We have here the usual suspects. Production team. Carolco Pictures Incorporated. Carolco reached the zenith in the 1980s and early 1990s with blockbuster hits such as the first 3 Rambo films, Total Recall, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Basic Instinct, Cliffhanger, and Stargate.
Holy tits. Wait, who was involved in that?
Carolco Pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Those are big time movies.
Yeah, you'd probably recognize the logo if you saw it. More importantly,
Please, don't show me it.
No, I won't.
It's right there on that paper.
Yeah.
Those are great, dude. Do you love Basic Instinct?
But one movie effectively ended this company.
One movie ruined.
It's true. Well, too big to fail.
Yes.
I believe the term.
Yes, that's what they said about your 5th wife.
And I'm going to give you clues as
It's
to...
weird. I think you're the only man to have a restraining order against you for a tombstone. You were restrained from being there. I think that's so
Well, her
weird.
family doesn't want me around.
That's true. And to be fair to Gertrude
Holstetter.
Yeah, I remember that you asked me to pull out of my 401k to get her coffin
It actually
built.
is in the Tri-County area.
Correct me if I'm wrong, her coffin is just a 1999 Chevy Suburban that they put her in?
Oh, 1978.
Yeah.
They discontinued that model after she was buried in it. Okay, so... I'm going to give you some clues on the movie that sank the studio. 1995.
Okay, I'm a 3-year-old stud.
You got Gina Davis. It's a swashbuckling adventure. And Matthew Modine.
What pirate movie is
Cutthroat Island.
Never seen it. Now you're saying movies are hard to make on the water.
That's right.
But what year did Waterworld come out?
Came out the same year.
I digress. Go on.
Okay. That's the production team. Carolco Pictures, no more. But within that time frame, they produced several hits.
That's
and
insane.
also this movie, The Silent Partner.
Now, The Silent Partner was really before all these big hits, though.
They reached their zenith, as they say, in the 80s and 90s.
Who says, what is Zenith?
An electronics company that produces DVD players.
So they reached their DVD player thing?
Yeah, it's just marketing. That's why they call it that.
The zenith.
Yeah.
They reached their zenith.
Yeah.
Like their peak.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Anyway, Pan-Canadian Film Distributors based
Distributor of The Silent Partner.
That's right.
Okay.
Originally based out of Toronto. And then they came to America in 1986 and renamed itself the Cineplex Odin Films.
Interesting.
And in 1998, the company was sold to Alliance Atlantis Communications, which eventually folded and became Entertainment One.
You said a lot of company names that I've never recognized.
Yeah, and that's the distributor. I'm just letting you know that Canadian production company just eventually will fold and become an American product. All right. Those are the usual suspects.
Whoa.
Now the prime suspects. These are very interesting. At least I found them that way. So let me pull that up. All right. Writer Curtis Hanson. And he was born in 1945 in Reno, Nevada. Interesting fact about Hanson. He dropped out of high school, finding work as a freelance photographer and editor for Cinema Magazine.
If I dropped out of high school, I would still be living at my parents' house like I am today. So I guess high school did nothing for me. Thanks, high school.
He wrote a couple movies that I found interesting. Sweet Kill in 1972, and he found his kills very sweet. Then The Bedroom Window in 1987. This movie actually starred Steve Guttenberg.
Get out of town.
I didn't know he acted in other movies besides Police Academy. Now, this was all written by the same guy who wrote The Silent Partner.
Who's that?
His name is Curtis Hanson.
Beautiful.
Now, the reason why I'm going to mention that he became a prolific director is because he also co-directed The Silent Partner.
The writer of The Silent Partner
That's
also
right.
co-directed The Silent Partner.
Yep.
That's interesting because I wonder if did they co-direct on the same terms, like together, and they're happy, or was it like a director did half and they're like, I'm out of here, and then the guy finished it up?
Well, I'll tell you, the director of The Silent Partner, Daryl Duke, basically is an incompetent director.
What?
Curtis Hanson essentially took over this movie. So Curtis Hanson went on to direct The River Wild back in 1994.
Did you like that one?
I did. With Kevin Bacon and Meryl Streep.
I didn't see it.
Curtis Hanson also directed The Hand That Rocks the Cradle in 1992.
What'd you think of that movie?
That was a really good thriller.
Ah.
And that's what I'm talking about with Curtis Hanson. He has like this mind for doing a serial killer who's sexually deviant.
Aren't they all, though?
True.
Aren't we all? I mean, aren't they all?
I think LA Confidential was also about that kind of thing.
LA Confidential is starring the dude from Memento.
One of the other most interesting movies that I feel that should be mentioned that Curtis Hanson directed was 8 Mile.
Ah, the old 8 Mile. Old rabbit himself.
Right, in 2002.
Yeah, baby. Mom Spaghetti. Was Brittany Murphy in Clueless?
Yeah.
At least I'm not a virgin who can't drive.
I just remember her in Sin City. She's like, you touch me again, I'll cut your little peck off.
Yeah, dude.
Man, if I had $1 for every time someone told me that. And that's our writer, Curtis Hanson. He became a prolific director and co-directed this movie, The Silent Partner. Now, do you want to talk about this little crappy director?
I want to watch the movie.
Well, I promise we'll get to it.
Okay.
I promise we'll get to it.
I'm just going to keep filling out this paperwork to get the allotted time.
Excellent.
For me to have the VCR, because you have to sign it out, because there's only one in the precinct.
All right, while you're filling that out, I'll just talk at you.
You
with
keep
these
going.
facts. Okay, perfect. So we got director Daryl Duke. He's directed 36 projects. How? I have no idea.
So you already don't like this guy?
No. This
Go
guy's
on.
pathetic.
Tell us why you don't like him. Why is Daryl Duke, pretty sure is a porn star, why is Daryl Duke pathetic as a director?
Well,
and Daryl, I know you're listening.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not.
Why?
He's passed.
What does that even mean?
Just
Silent
means
Partner
that
was in
not around and won't
1978.
be able to hear what we say.
Ooh.
So Daryl Duke directed 36 projects. Now, profile on him, he was born in 1929.
Holy Toledo.
Almost 100 years ago.
Yeah. You think his mom was a flapper girl?
Well, that's probably true. He was also born in British Columbia. That's Canada. Ooh. He also graduated from the University of British Columbia, still in Canada. More importantly, Daryl Duke directed Shadow of the Hawk in 1976.
Never seen it.
But he was replaced by a new director during production.
Man, this guy just keeps fighting to be in a directing role, even though it seems like he's not good at it. Keep going. What else has he done?
Now, here's an interesting fact about him. He went on to do basically nothing. Oh, he passed away in 2006, so I guess that's one accomplishment.
Keep going. What else has he done?
Well, that's it.
Oh, really? You're not going to say it?
No.
I'll say it. Daryl Duke did Jared's 7th wife.
All right, well, we weren't going to
And
actually...
that's why he's dogging on him as a director.
Like she said in our vows, once you go Canadian, you never go Quebec.
You never go Quebec.
All right, that wound.
Canada.
That wound is still fresh.
Less unattractive cousin.
All right, cinematographer. Let me get this file out here for you. Billy Williams.
Ooh, I like that name.
So his name is essentially Will Williams.
No, his name is Billy.
He lensed. That's a term I learned.
What is that?
Lensed means he's a cinematographer. So I'm going to start saying lensed whenever I refer to a cinematographer.
That's badass.
Thank
dude.
you. William Williams. He was born in 1929, another guy in 1929. And he's from London, England. And now that's in the United Kingdom.
Old Foggy Town.
Interesting fact about him, he is the president of the British Society of Cinematographers.
That was very interesting, Jared.
That was from 1977.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
Now I'm going to read some titles that he lensed.
Okay, let's see if I've seen them.
Any of them come at you. The Manhattan Project in 1986.
Nope.
The Survivors in 1983. And that's the one with a cover that Robin Williams had all the guns and stuff, and it was all snowing, and Walter Matthau looked like he was like, oh, this again. Gandhi in 1982.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he lens The Silent Partner in 1978?
Yes, he did.
I thought that name was familiar.
This is why I'm talking about him. The last thing I want to say that he lensed was Saturn III in 1980.
There's a third one? I thought
That's
there was
very
just one.
confusing. I agree
Yeah.
with you. It's just Saturn III.
Saturn III.
Yeah, it's supposed to sound sci-fi. And I watched the trailer,
doesn't.
and it stars Kirk Douglas and Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett. I bet the water comes out of her hat.
Good Lord. And that's all I got on cinematographer William Williams.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna hand in this paperwork, and and that'll give us the allotted time for the.
I'll talk to myself.
The TV
I'll talk to
and
myself.
the VHS.
No problem.
I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks. All right, here we go. Editor, George Appleby. He edited 43 projects. Profile, he died in 1999. Again, I think all of the people who created this movie are practically dead by
All
now.
right, we're set.
No, I haven't finished talking to myself.
All right, well, I'm just gonna wheel this in. You keep going.
Oh, thanks. George Appleby was a Canadian film and editor for television. Interesting fact about him.
Yeah, I got a red plug, a yellow plug, and a white plug. Where do I put these things?
The white is for the video, and the red is for either the left or the right audio.
I'm used to using the HID-ME wires, the HID-ME plug.
The HID-ME plugs?
The HID-ME?
HDMI.
Yeah, the HID-ME.
You don't have that. We don't have that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't. What are these three things?
Just plug the white one to where it says video, and plug like just the red one where it says audio.
Oh, and what do I do with this last yellow?
You just let it dangle.
Well, why is it here then?
If we had the technology, both the red and the yellow would be for audio.
What would be the difference? Whatever.
Yep.
It's done?
Yep.
Perfect.
Looking good. Okay, almost done with this. Interesting fact about the editor of The Silent Partner is he is most noted as a 2-time winner of the Canadian Film Award for Best Editing for The Silent Partner.
But who is that?
The people who all make movies in Canada.
Right, but just realize every award you're given is just given to you by like just 12 people that are like, yeah, we like that one the best. It's different like in sports. In sports, you physically beat these people so we can visually see how you beat them, and therefore you had the fastest time, the longest jump, the biggest biceps. So we're gonna give you a trophy or a medal. But then with other stuff, it's kind of like, nah, we picked it because we like his attitude at the after party. Here's a trophy.
George Appleby also edited Great Canadian Ghost Stories in 1995.
They just sound polite. She's like, boo, oh, hey, you trying to scare me there? Yeah, sorry. Oh, it's okay.
Arctic Blue in 1993. That starred Rutger Hauer.
He is most famously known for Split Second. Most famously known for, if you buy 4 cassettes, we'll give you a free Split Second t-shirt. That's the promo for the commercial back in the day.
Plus, call 1-800-551-5366 now and receive the split-second 6-foot standee while our available supplies last. Rutger Hauer in Split Second. Sweet dreams. On video, it doesn't get any better than this.
It was a great deal.
And
I think if you buy 1,000, he'll come to your home, probably sleep with your wife.
I'm going to tell you this right now, and I've never told anyone this, Jared. But when I saw that 1,000 promo and Rock Sleeping With Your Wife, I bought 5,000 copies.
You wanted to sleep with your wife 5 times?
Well, as you know, I'm horrible at as we say now, lensing scenes. So I knew I was going to need
Wait, you wanted to videotape it?
Oh, of course.
Oh.
So I know I needed at least 5 tries to get the perfect angle. And let's just say Rux B is sweet to me.
Well, that's all I got on the usual suspects.
Okay.
Do you want to watch the movie, or do you want to talk about
I've been waiting to watch the movie.
Hold on. Okay, before we watch the movie, we're going to talk about the Patsies.
Let's do it.
Nope.
What was that?
We're going to watch the movie.
We're just going to watch the movie?
Yeah, I was watching the movie.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so I just put this in here, right?
Yeah, blow on
All
it
right.
first.
And then I press play. Nope, screen's blue. Hang on. What'd you say I do with the red one?
You plug in the red one, but let the yellow one ding.
Okay, hang on. Is it on? Is that it?
Yep.
Hey!
It's on.
A silent partner.
Who are you and what do you want from me?
A crime of sheer genius that builds to a climax of sheer terror.
I'm gonna kill you, so help me. I'm gonna kill you.
Starring Elliott Gould, Christopher Plummer, and Susannah York.
One night, when you come home, you'll find me on the inside, and that'll be the night you'll wish you'd never been born.
It was the only way to make him the silent partner.
Spoilers.
Yeah, because we're going to break down this movie point by point.
Okay.
So if you don't want a spoiler on it,
Stop now.
Stop
the movie's
now.
called The Silent Partner, starring Elliott Gould. You'd know him from Ocean's 11.
and Christopher Plummer.
Great.
So in the beginning of this film, Miles Cullen was referred to as Cullen or Miles by several different characters.
Yeah, that part was confusing, but using my detective skills and going on the internet, I learned that his name is Miles Cullen. So what I thought is the chick in the beginning,
That was Julie.
Julie. Yeah, Julie called him Miles.
Julie was an older lady, right?
Well, be careful what you're saying there, Jared.
We're with Miles Cullen. Just sort of a small-time, very bored bank teller
An FBT, First National Bank of Toronto.
in a mall.
For those of you that don't know, malls used to be your
The
little
cultural hub of the world.
Right. So think of like an internet chat room, but you can physically see everybody, and they're also buying things.
And then, boom, all of a sudden, John Candy has a walk-on role. And by the way, this isn't his first feature film.
Really?
No, he actually starred in a movie called Find a Lady in 1976.
The Polka King, baby.
That was the thing that really took me out of the movie for a second. All of a sudden, John Candy shows up. And he plays also another bank teller, right?
Yeah.
So when Miles discovers a discarded holdup note,
It says, I have a gun. Give me all your money. And in the movie, it shows it, but when you're writing out a bank slip, there's a sheet that you write on, and then below that, there's like ink sheet on another paper, exactly what you're writing. So then you get a copy, and the bank gets a copy.
so that's what he found. So
He found the
essentially, the
second
bank
copy.
robber, played
Yes.
by Christopher Plummer, forgetting the fact that his note that he wrote
Right.
was now still on the ink pad.
Ink pad, yeah. So then I think he might have.
Because I think right now there's like 2 stars in this movie. One, of course, is John Candy. And the other one is coincidence.
What do you mean coincidence?
Well, a lot of it's just severe happenstance. That
no,
like,
what's the happenstance?
well, he finds
He didn't just find a note. He was flirting with Jules,
Oh,
and he was like writing things with his finger, and then he would show the ink press copy and be like, and she'd be like, no, I don't want to drink. And then he grabbed another one, and it was missing the top sheet, and he opened up the little ink press flap and saw the bottom copy, and it said, I have a gun at a...
here's my
That's not
dunce
really
mind. I totally missed that. Because
Right. Santa Claus came into the bank. Miles is behind the counter, and a lady walks in with a kid. Stops Santa dead in his tracks. Santa goes, oh, I forgot my whatever, and leaves. And because there was a little boy there, he didn't make his move. He was reading it. He was like, what the heck? And then he got interrupted by Jules and his
bank
man.
manager.
Yeah, he got interrupted. He's like, oh, and he had to do stuff for him. And I was like, that's interesting. So he kept the note.
And then he's going around in the mall and he's thinking about this note that he has. And then he looks across the way and he recognizes the would-be robber is a mall Santa. And that Santa Claus is holding up a sign that has the particular G, has a weird way of writing a G on it. And it also matches what was on the discarded teller note, G.
Yeah, the G was like a C with a really sharp slash at the bottom.
So Miles is putting all this together. He's saying like,
Genius.
okay,
Way to
I
tickle.
think it's this Santa Claus.
Yes, the G matches the I have a gun note. So it's not happenstance that Santa is up there and he drew that sign because he's staking out the bank. And he's staking out the bank because there's a business owner who brings in all of his money from the day's work in the mall, and that's the fattest stacks. The money in the pocky, as we like to say in the biz. So he puts together like, oh, wait a minute. That night he goes home. He tests out, does the Canadian Canuck, I'm assuming that's what Canadian Buckaroos are called.
True.
You put them in the Batman lunchbox, and he goes, hey, they fit perfectly. I'll put them in my little briefcase. Done deal. Because
the Santa Claus didn't know that Miles would be onto him at this.
Right.
So that's when Miles really knew this robbery was going down.
Yep.
Now.
And then he did that. Miles is such an interesting cat, and I'm going to say this right now, and we'll probably bring it up later. He has, in this movie, such an insane sex appeal.
So, like you said, rather than informing his boss or contacting the police, Miles begins stashing cash from his Windows transactions in an old lunchbox rather than the bank's till, because he knows he's about to be robbed and the amount of money going out probably isn't going to be caught. When Santa Claus the robber holds up Miles at his teller's desk, Miles hands over a small amount of money and then reports that he gave all the money of that day's transactions.
Santa Claus comes in with the gun.
That's right.
Okay. Miles gives him...
It's called a Luger.
Yes, a Luger. Thank you. So first off, you have a gun pointed at you, and all you've been your whole life is possibly Asperger's, possibly not, bank teller man. Can you appreciate him keeping his cool under pressure with a gun pointed at him? And then Santa Claus goes, all of it. And he goes, that's all of it. Secretly triggering the silent alarm.
That's right.
That is such a big dick move. And what's interesting about this movie is they don't mention Miles having any money troubles.
He
Nothing.
saw an opportunity and he took it.
He knew his father was at death's door. He's probably going to get a small inheritance. Why do it? I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because he's f***ing bored, baby. He's bored with his life. So why not jazz it up? The money stolen was $48,500.
That's correct.
And I'm pretty sure he gave the robber like 2,000 Canucks. And we looked it up, and I think 48,500 Canucks equals like $100,000 or something from 1978. I can't remember.
And Arthur, the Santa Claus thief, sees the news report of how much money was stolen during the robbery. He realizes what happened, and he wants to collect the money from Miles. Because you were very interested in Miles' sex appeal, right? Now, why do you think he had this calm, cool demeanor anyway, besides the fact that he probably had Asperger's?
I don't know, but I was really...
Because he knew he was going to get one over on the robber.
Yeah, because I think people don't realize it. There's normal people where they feel bad for things, and then there's criminals. And a majority of criminals are just like, I don't care. No one's ever been there for me. I don't care if no one's there for you. I'm going to hurt you and have no remorse. Miles, a normal dude, was going toe-to-toe with a straight-up criminal.
Psychopath.
A psychopath.
Which piqued the interest of Julie Carver. Remember that 39-year-old aging woman who should have, settled down decades prior?
Yeah.
Julie Carver, Miles is way interested in her. And she is a bank colleague.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Found something out and said, what happened? And you're like, she's having an affair with the bank manager. And
yes.
I'm like, what?
Okay, so here's what happened. Miles is flirting with Jules. Jules isn't into it.
In the beginning.
The bank teller comes up and goes, hey, Miles, have a nice time.
That was the bank manager.
Yes,
not the
bank manager goes up to Miles and says, take Jules out on my dime, have a few drinks, watch after her. Later on, and you're just like, okay, whatever. This dude sent his friend to go with this chick because he didn't want any other stags to come around this dough. Which kind of tells you what the bank manager... This movie's very subtle, actually. It kind of tells you what the bank manager thinks about Miles. Out of all the dudes here, I choose you.
You're the least threatening.
You're the least threatening for my lady love. Go out and court her because I know she won't do anything with you because you're pathetic.
Is that why Cap always lets you hang out with his wife?
No, actually, it's because me and the Cap's wife have the same shoe size, and she likes to speed shop. So when she's trying on high heels, I'm also trying on high heels.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. We both have 12 and a half.
And you know what? That was I didn't see it going that direction when I asked you about that. And I wished I didn't.
And we both see the same gynecologist. Now, hang on. I don't want to get you confused.
Yeah, no, another curveball.
She sees a gynecologist, but also this gyno doubles up as a therapist.
Yeah.
because it was very interesting. I didn't know the process of checking your prostate. And correct me if I'm wrong here. Go to my doctor, a.k.a. Cap's wife's gyno, and he was checking my prostate. It is swollen, so there you go. I'm just going to skip to the end. But he used his thumb and then told me to suck on his finger. Is that normal?
Well, first thing about whenever... Okay, you know what? We don't have to get into all that stuff. Let's just go back into this movie, because...
I need to go talk to my wife. I'm starting to look different things up on the internet now.
It's totally natural.
I understand my Boy Scout coach back in the 90s.
Yeah, but just like our exam, we just got to get through this.
Let's
gotta
get
power
through it,
as they say. Do we want to talk about the Christmas party? Because John Candy's character...
Let me give you a rundown. There's a young little blonde thing that comes to start working at the bank, and she's wearing funny little shirts that are like, make sure you pull out your loans before I get pregnant and stuff like that. I don't know what the shirt says.
She says, bankers always do it with interest.
Is that what the shirt said?
Yeah, that's what.
Because the little thing about me is I can't read, so that's funny. So John Candy, which by the way, I just love it because John Candy isn't like the typical, I find that guy attractive. He knows who he is in this movie. He starts dating the blonde. There's a third coworker at the bank, and he's interested in the blonde as well. At the Christmas party, the blonde and the third coworker, the Coos, are upstairs in the bathroom doing it, and
While she's in a relationship with John
Candy. But here's the thing: what level of relationship are we in? How long have they been dating? Okay, so let's just, for the sake of the movie, say it's late November. The blonde did not start right away. She started a couple scenes later. Now we're having a Christmas party at the bank of the manager's house. So they've only been dating for, I'd say, less than a month. There's really no betrayal there. They weren't really dating yet.
They weren't in a committed relationship.
They weren't committed. They're just two people hanging out.
All the while, her date to the party was John Candy, but he had already passed out drunk on the couch.
He did. So, which is now explaining to me why my lady gives me so many drinks when I go out.
Okay. And then we're going to go into the fact that the Santa Claus, psychopath, thief, he knows that Miles has the money.
He knows that Miles pocketed $48,000 and only gave him $2,000.
And he wants it.
It's a genius play, Jared.
So Reichel breaks into Miles' apartment and trashes it to look for the stolen bank money. Miles turns the tables yet again, and he sets him up to be arrested for the theft of a delivery truck.
Yes.
And then he calls the cops.
And he says, hey, here's the van, your partner, and gets this dude arrested. Swindles him and then steals a van to get him in trouble. That's Walter White level stuff. That's like, no, I'm going to keep doing things to survive.
And this is what I also found interesting about Miles, too, because Miles was going through the mug shots after the robbery.
Yes.
And he says, hey, do you recognize this guy? Do you recognize this guy? And he does come across...
Our robber.
The robber's
Christopher Plummer, you said?
Yep, Christopher Plummer.
Great actor.
A very young, handsome Christopher Plummer.
And in this movie, he's not like your regular looking or acting like bad guy.
He just exuded danger.
Oh, God.
And unpredictability.
Right.
Now, Reichel is in jail. This is where I feel like the movie slows down a little bit. At Miles' father's funeral, he meets a woman named Elaine.
Yes, he does.
A flirtatious lady who claims to be the nurse who cared for Miles' father. Elaine is, in fact, secretly working for the imprisoned Reichel.
Yes.
To discover where he hid the stolen money.
Now, Reichel at this point is not imprisoned for stealing the money.
He was in prison for stealing
the van that Miles planted. Miles did not say, that is Reichel. That's the dude that stole. He was in a lineup, and he said, no, that's not him.
Right. Essentially,
so he's in jail just for the van, and that's what they found.
What did Miles do with the money so far?
And I don't know if it's genius or stupid, but he got the money, put it in a safety deposit box in his bank, and then hid the key in a jar of jam in his fridge at his apartment. Which I thought at the time, I'm like, that's a genius-ass place to hide things. Like, why not put stuff in a jar of jam, you know?
And so my favorite part, when Elaine came into his life, Miles knew immediately she was lying to him.
It was the thing.
But he knew that he was like, okay, I'm in complete control of this.
Yes.
I got this totally sexy lady coming into my life. Like, I'm going to play chess with this situation.
What country is Elaine from? Pop quiz. Pop quiz. What country is Elaine from in the movie?
Spain.
France. You're right, Jared. Miles plays it perfectly. He calls the home that was watching his father. He says, nah, I checked on you, Elaine. There was never anybody named Elaine watching my father. But Miles did this after they made sweet, sweet, passionate love. I mean, do we understand what's happening? Just picture a regular Joe, and he's just like doing all these like crazy, badass things. I'm going to admit it right now on the show. I don't have the souk to do that stuff.
No. By this time, Miles already had his way with Elaine, right?
Don't say it like that.
Okay, Elaine had her way with Miles, and Miles let it happen.
Stop. No, they both made sweet, sweet, passionate 1978 love. It's slower. It's more sensual. It's not just like bam, 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 bam. We're not animals.
No, these actors
70s, it was
were
slow
both.
and beautiful.
They were both intimacy coordinators.
Oh my God, they were. Oh boy.
By this time, Reichel is released from prison.
Yes.
And confronts Elaine about her loyalties.
Bum bum bum.
Now, he does this inside of Miles' apartment when Miles is gone. And Elaine knows that she's pushing his buttons.
Yes.
This enrages Reichel. Well, a movie like this also definitely could have been made nowadays because they beat up women pretty bad in this movie.
Can't do that. Why not? Real bad guys hit women a lot.
That's the deal with this Reichel guy. He's a real bad dude and he doesn't hold back. Now, what do you think her motivation to rile Reichel up?
I don't know. I guess it's just like if you're under the thumb of somebody, you can only take so much until you snap. And who's to say Elaine was even telling the truth? The sexual encounter with Miles might have been mediocre at best, but because this dude's here, I know after he kills Miles, he's probably going to try and kill me. And that's Elaine's attitude, dude. The movies are gritty and real.
That's what I meant to say. Yes. Reichel is essentially trying to drown her.
Yes.
And I'm like, ooh, this looks so dangerous. That fishbowl's going to break.
He takes her head and bashes it through a fish tank. It's a tank, people, not a bowl. And because he bashes it through, there's now shards of glass. So as he's drowning her, he is simultaneously decapitating her head.
Yeah.
Now, it's not really shown until later when there's just a floating head, but you guys watch the movie, so
but
you know.
But they show him like...
No. They snuck in there looking for the key to get the money out. She gave him lip. Now here, Miles comes home.
Right.
Finds this woman that I personally think he thought he could have a future with if they got away with it. He disposes of the body. A woman's life to Miles at this point is worth 48,500 Canucks.
Oh, you know what we forgot?
What did we forget?
This is an important little side note. We got to resurrect Elaine a little bit here. So what happened was Miles comes home and a house cleaner has taken all of the food items that were expired out of the refrigerator and tossed it. Miles was also using Elaine to try to say that the safety deposit box in the bank was hers so they can hire a locksmith to come in and open up the bank vault.
Yeah, that was a real risky move because they went in there.
So that implicated him with Elaine.
Right.
To anybody. So when Elaine ultimately ended up dead, he had to definitely get rid of her.
And now
body.
Elaine at this point knew where the money was, knew she had a little spot.
I can't believe we forgot that plot.
Miles was interested in Elaine. And what's interesting about this is I don't think Elaine had good intentions. He's done. Now, the reason he got rid of the body is he doesn't want to go to jail. We're back inside the bank. There's a giant poster on an easel, and it says FBT, or Federal Bank of Toronto. And then the blondie with the funny sex shirts grabs a pamphlet, and she's reading it around the bank. A quick thing. It probably took 45 seconds. And she goes, wow, 2,000 square feet of cement. Wow, that's an interesting thing. Obviously, check off cement. It's going to come back later. That's great because Miles takes Elaine's body from his apartment, wraps it up in his Persian rug, brings it to the new location of where the bank is being built, and throws it on the ground, and it gets covered in cement. No one will ever find her body under 2,000 cubic feet of cement. Here's the thing. Like what happens later in the film, we need to set it up slightly earlier in the film. It doesn't need to be a giant thing of grandeur. It could be a subtle, beautiful thing. And here's what I thought, Jared. He tells Reichel, I'm done. And Reichel goes, give me the money. He goes, I can't. It's in the bank at the safety deposit box. Show up tomorrow and I'll give you the money.
Sorry.
So we're like, damn it. Reichel's going to win.
And Reichel shows up the next day dressed as a woman.
Miles, the little criminal genius that he is, tricks Reichel. He goes, here's the money. Bet you anything in that sack he gave him, 2,000 Canucks from the till, not from Miles' personal bank account. Like
that money is obviously still in the safety deposit box, not going anywhere.
Exactly.
He's just going to give him money out of the till.
That's right. So then, now this is a power play. This is a risk. Oh, geez, Reichel, you have a gun. Don't shoot. Is someone going to shoot him? And what if they don't kill him?
So Reichel panics, pulls a gun, and shoots Miles.
Reichel shot him in the arm.
That's right. Then flees into the mall, where he is then shot by the mall bank security guard.
He goes, Miles. And the security guard goes, what? And he goes, Miles gave me the bank's money. And then the fucking security guard goes,
whose money did you expect?
And he didn't even care that he shot him. I feel like that dude's going to go home and go, damn straight.
All right. So then the movie, our man Miles, he wins. Reichel is dead. So Miles is then being transported into an ambulance, and guess who comes along?
Julie. Julie knew what happened as it was going down. She knew the play, and she knew that Miles had the money. She had the briefcase. She could have left British Columbia, Canada, and she could have went down to the Bahamas, but she didn't. You know why, Jared?
Why?
It's time I settle down, and he has a bunch of money. Let me just go with him.
And that's the end of the movie. Now, can I go into the patsies?
Yes.
All right, so we got Elliott Gould. He was 40 years old during that film, and he's kind of a goofy-looking dude, but he is 6'3". Also, he began acting in Broadway in the late 1950s.
I don't like that you just said he's a goofy-looking dude.
He is a goofy.
Who are you to start judging people's appearances?
You're right. I'm going to not say that. But he has been married 3 times.
I'll strangle you.
Twice to the same woman.
What?
That's one thing him and I got in common.
That's so interesting.
Been married 3 times, twice to the same woman, and one of them was Barbara Streisand.
It's not really the same thing you guys have in common because you were married to Siamese twins and you married the left one, got divorced, and then married the right one, got divorced.
Oh, wait, no. I want to talk about Christopher Plummer. He was 49 years old during the making of that movie.
I think he just did an absolutely phenomenal job.
He was very scary. Like, when he peeked through the mail slot of the door to talk to Miles.
Yes.
That was so scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I liked it. And it's just like,
what?
he can get in your apartment. He did all this stuff. And do not cut this out.
Okay.
Now, listen up, everyone. Check it out. But you're going to look at it and go, oh, yeah, that is kind of weird.
I agree. Interesting fact about Christopher Plummer. At the age of 82, he was the oldest person to receive an Academy Award.
How old was he? 82?
82 years old.
I think that's awesome. I like it when anything's possible. Go on.
Here's another thing. Here's another quote he said. Unless you can surround yourself with as many beautiful things as you can afford, I don't think life has very much meaning. And you heard of Susannah York. She was 39 during the making of that movie, but looked like she was 68. Anyway, so moving on. She actually was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for They Shoot at Horses, Don't They? In 1969. In response to her nomination, she snubbed the Academy by stating that being nominated without even being asked offended her.
Good for her.
Now, can we talk about Celine Lomez?
Who is Celine Lomez?
Oh, that was that 25-year-old sexy dish. Her name in the movie was Elaine.
She was 25?
Yeah, she played Elaine.
35.
Now, interesting fact about Celine. She was one of the finalists in the casting for Charlie's Angels, but lost out to Tanya Roberts because the network decided Lomez was too sexy for prime time. And now, she might have been difficult to work with because she was originally set to star as Brooke Parsons in the 1983 cult horror film Curtains, but was asked to leave after shooting several scenes by the producer, Peter Simpson.
Oh, why?
I couldn't find it. But she did something or behaved a certain way that obviously got her kicked out of Charlie's Angels
now maybe
and the cult horror
she
film.
didn't do something on Curtain.
And that's what I got on the patsies. So wrapping up this, we got the informant notes. Hold on a second.
Wait, you still have informant notes?
Yeah.
Some of these informants remind me of a movie from the 70s. They're just bad guys. Now, Jared, you might notice that as I open up this box, I'm purposely giving myself cardboard cuts on my fingers.
I've noticed that. Let me see that thumb of yours.
I love the pain.
You want to put some more crazy glue on that?
Nah, it's okay. My thumb's crazy enough. Here we got for informant notes from... Are these from Real Whole Wheat?
Well, that is undetermined.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out.
Hey, gentlemen, good evening. Coming at you, Rio Whole Wheat here. It's the middle of the night, so I gotta be real quiet. But I'm gonna talk to you about Silent Partner. You know what? That movie in 1979, it was the film adaptation from a novel called Think of a Number by Danish writer Anders Bodelsen.
Oh, so this was a book.
Oh man, I hate that. For some reason, I just love the raw idea of a screenwriter writing a movie from his ideas.
Oh, you know what? I take back everything I said about Curtis Hanson. For all we know, 8 Mile really happened.
Roger Ebert, remember that guy? He was a nice guy. Back in March of 1979, wrote a review in the Chicago Sun-Times. He gave it 3.5 out of a possible 4 stars, calling it worthy of Hitchcock. The film's star, Elliott Gould, claims to have screened it for Hitchcock himself, who he says loved it.
Nah, I just wouldn't. I would never have watched this movie and compared it to Hitchcock. I mean, what's your favorite Hitchcock movie?
Mine's Rope.
My favorite is The Burbs. There, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Tom Hanks. That's my favorite one. Are you happy? I love The Burbs.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
All right. That's my favorite Hitchcock movie.
I love it.
I think if I were to compare this movie to anything, it would be Blowout, starring John Travolta, directed by
Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma, thank you. I would say Blowout's better than this movie. It's more interesting, you know, and
that's why we're going to pull a cold case file every month from the 70s.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
You're making me so excited right now.
So, God, you really need to put on pants.